On this worksheet, we're going to find the equations of horizontal and vertical lines. And these are special cases from a previous lesson. So in the previous lesson, you learned how to find equations of lines. And we used, for the most part, we used the idea of point-slope formula. And we also talked about the slope of a horizontal line and the slope of a vertical line. So when we look at number one, we have that this is a horizontal line and contains the point -a2. So there are a couple of ways that you could think about this. One way is to remember that a horizontal line has slope 0. All right, so we know that the slope is 0. And I know that since I have a slope and I have a point on that line, I can use point-slope form, right? Use point-slope form. And so let's look at what that looks like. So remember, point-slope form is y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. And so in order to use point-slope form, recall, you need to know the slope, which you do, and you need to know a point on the line, which you do. And so it helps to label this, and I'll call this x1, y1. So in place of x1, oops, right here, I'll substitute -8, and in place of y1, I'll substitute 2. So I get y minus 2 is equal to the slope, which is 0, times x minus x1, which is a -8. And remember, 0 times any variable expression here, which is x plus 8, would be 0, right? So I get y minus 2 equals 0. And then getting y by itself, I get y equals 2. And there's your answer. There's the equation of that line. You just don't see an x, right? So there's no x term. All you see is y. But it makes sense, doesn't it? Because remember, the equation y equals 2 has this graph. Y equal 2 has this graph. Remember, y equal 2 means that the y coordinate is always 2 in it. The y coordinate is always 2. So if you look at this, I'm going to draw this line right here. If you look at this line right here, isn't that y coordinate on this line, all these y coordinates, isn't that all 2 equal to 2? So this y coordinate's 2, this y coordinate's 2, and so on, right? So notice that it makes sense that this would be the equation of this line because it's a horizontal line, which you see, right? You see this horizontal line, and all these y coordinates are 2. See this 2 right here? All of them are 2. All right, but the other way you could think about it is this way. So without having to do all this, you could say, well, I have a horizontal line, and it contains the point -a2. So draw the point, plot the point -a2. So -a2 is right here, right? So here's -a2. And it's a horizontal line. So we have this horizontal line that goes to this point, just like this. And I know that there's something special about this horizontal line. No matter what point I look at, the y coordinate of every point here is the same. That y coordinate is 2 in every situation. So that means is that since the y coordinate is always 2, that means y always has to equal 2. And there's your equation. All right. So you didn't have to go through this process here, although you could have, because you know that a horizontal line has slope 0. All right. So the answer here, you would say y equals 2. There's the answer there. All right. Let's look at number 2. So number 2. All right. So number 2. Okay. So number 2, we have a vertical line that contains the point 47. Now, remember, whenever using point-slope form, you have to know the slope. There has to be a slope, right? Well, remember, a vertical line has no slope. So we know that it has no slope. So it has no slope, and also we can think of this as undefined slope, right? So undefined slope. So since it has no slope, and since it has no or the slope is undefined, I cannot use this idea here. So I am forced to use this approach. So I know that this vertical line goes to the point 47. So here's 47 right here. So there's the point 47. And I know it's a vertical line that goes to this point. So here's my vertical line. And let's think about what's special about this vertical line. If I look at all these points here, if I look at all these points, what do they have in common? Well, they have in common the fact that the x-coordinate is all the same. So this is 4, this x-coordinate here is 4, this x-coordinate here is 4, this x-coordinate here is 4, and so on. So remember, just like we did here in this one right here for the horizontal line, what was special was that the y-coordinate was 2. So we knew that y was always going to equal 2. Here, we know that x will always equal, this is x, will always equal 4. And there's your answer. All right? So the answer to here is that x will be 4. So remember, you cannot use point slope form here because this vertical line doesn't have a slope. So you are forced to think of what a vertical line is in terms of its equation. All right, so number 2, the answer is x equals 4, right? X equals 4. All right, and then number 3 is kind of like number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and think of number 3 using that graph again. So here's how I want you to think about this. So I know we have this horizontal line, so let me go ahead and write it down. So this horizontal line. All right, so this horizontal line that contains the point 0, -2. So let's go ahead and plot the point 0, -2. So here's 0, -2 right here. So there's the point 0, -2, right? 0, -2. And it's a horizontal line. So I know that the line looks like this. So this line, this horizontal line contains this point, 0, -2. Again, what is special about every point on this line? All right, so when I ask that, you got to think about what do we know about the x-coordinate? What about the y-coordinate? Well, I know that in all these points here, the y-coordinate is always the same. That y-coordinate is always what number? -2, right? That y-coordinate is -2. So that means that y always has to equal to a -2. And there's your answer. Y equals -2. So the answer to number 3 is y equals -2. Okay? So remember horizontal line. Remember what a horizontal line looks like. So right, left, vertical line, up, down, right? And this horizontal line contains this point, and that's what it looks like. And all these y coordinates are the same. All right, number 4, you have a vertical line that contains a point 3, 0. Vertical line that contains a point 3, 0. All right, so vertical line, number 4, vertical line that contains the point 3, 0. So let's go and look at this in terms of a graph. All right, so here is the point 3, 0 right here. All right, 3 zeros right here. 3, 0. And we're told this is a vertical line, right? So I'm going to draw a vertical line. Now remember, vertical line has no slope. So if you tried to use this point slope form, you could not, because you can only use this point slope form if you know a slope of that line, or if you know the slope of the line. This vertical line has no slope. All right, so you have to resort to what you know about all these points. What is special about all these points on this vertical line? All right, well, all these points have what x-coordinate in common? Well, they have x in common, which is 3, right? And so this vertical line, the equation of this vertical line is x equal 3. And there's your answer, x equal 3. So this one is x equal 3. All right, number 5, we also deal with a vertical line, except this time is 0, 5. So let's look at that one, 0, 5. All right, so this vertical line, so vertical line contains 0, 5. So let's plot the point 0, 5. So 0, 5 is right here, right? Right here on the y-axis. So there's 0, 5 right here. And it's a vertical line, correct? So it's a vertical line, so it's going to go through that point. All right, I want you to notice something though. So do y'all agree that this vertical line is actually the y-axis, right? So that's the y-axis, this vertical line that I'm looking at, this vertical line that goes to this point now. This point is the y-axis, right? That's the y-axis. All right, so what's special about this vertical line, or what's special about this y-axis? Well, all of these points have what x-coordinate in common? Well, they all have 0 in common. So I can think of this as, remember this is x, right? So I can think of the equation of this line as being x equals 0. All right? So x equals 0 will be the equation you want to use because it did ask for an equation. But remember, x equals 0 is which is the y-axis. All right, so x equals 0. All right, but remember, x equals 0 is the y-axis. All right, so we're going to say x equals 0 here, okay? So number 5 is x equals 0. So put x equals 0 here. Okay, because it did ask for an equation. So don't say the y-axis. I want you to give me an equation, an equal sign. All right, number 6. So let's look at number 6. So here's number 6. All right, so number 6, you're told the slope is 0 and it passes to this point, negative 3, 5. All right, so slope is 0 and it contains negative 3, 5. So remember, though, a line in which the slope is 0 is a horizontal line in it. So you can think of this as being a horizontal line, right? Horizontal line. And we know that this horizontal line contains this point, negative 3, 5. So let's look at that in terms of this graph right here. So negative 3, 5. So here is negative 3, 5 right here, right? So negative 3, 5. So there's the point, negative 3, 5. Since the slope is 0, you know it's a horizontal line. So I have this line right here. And let's go back and talk about our discussion again. What is special about this horizontal line right here? What is special about these points on this horizontal line? Well, all of these points have what y-coordinate in common? They all have, in all these cases, they have the y-coordinate all being the same, right? And that y-coordinate is 5. So y equal 5. And there's your answer. So the answer is y equal 5. So on here, you'll say y equal 5. And then number 7. So number 7, you have this in number 7. Number 7. So this time in number 7, you're told that the slope is undefined and it contains the point for negative 2. Well, remember, if the slope is undefined, you have to remember that this is a vertical line. All right, a vertical line. And so now that we know it's a vertical line, let's go ahead and plot the point for negative 2. So here's 4, negative 2. So it's in the 4th quadrant. Remember your quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 negative 2 is in the 4th quadrant. And since the slope is undefined, it's a vertical line. So I'm going to draw a vertical line. So very simple, right? Not difficult at all. So here's the vertical line right here. And again, let's ask ourselves, what is special about all of these points on this vertical line? Well, all these points have which coordinate in common? Well, they have the x-coordinate in common, right? So all these points, the x-coordinate is 4. So x equal 4 would be the answer. So in number 7, you would say x equal 4. Okay? All right, and so that is it. So, oh, and also notice that whenever we're talking about a horizontal vertical line, you don't see two variables. You only see the variable y or the variable x. So remember, horizontal lines or vertical lines, you only see the variable y or the variable x, and we prefer, and when writing it, you always get the variable by itself. Okay? All right, so that is, well, when I say get the variable by itself, that's how we prefer to write it. All right, so that is the key to this worksheet.